Olivia Dean, Somber, Alex Warren, Cat's Eye, Leon Thomas, the Marias, Addison Rae, and Lola Young. What do they all have in common? They are up for Best New Artist at the Grammys. I am very excited to talk about this as somebody whose channel is focused on pop culture. I'm just a girl on her couch talking about music, media, anything that is culturally impactful and monumental. I like to talk about. And the Grammys is such a good time for discourse because it's so fascinating to see who is going to be picked that is going to define the year of 2026 as Best New Artist. Welcome to this casual channel. Let me know before we get into discussing Best New Artist who you would like to be the Best New Artist for this year. There's so many good contenders, and I feel like this year it's not really obvious. Last year, Chaperone winning, I feel like that was a little bit obvious. It was either going to be Chapel or Sabrina. This year, honestly, it could go a lot of ways. When thinking about who is going to be the Best New Artist, I think that it's important that we think about a couple of components. At least this is what I'm looking for in Best New Artist. What is the artist brand and what's the lane that they're carving out in the music industry? What does the artist add to the culture? Is the vision strong enough? Is the vision strong enough to sustain longevity? I feel like when we're looking at Best New Artists, we're looking at who is going to be the next staple in pop music, in music in general. When I think about my favorite artists or the artist who I think is the best in the business, I like to think of them having vision, incredible work ethic, and then also just the staying power, honestly. So we're going to go through all of the artists, and then I'm going to be selecting who I want to win after I talk about them fully so you know exactly where my headspace is at, and then who I think is going to win, because those often differ. Please comment down below yours. Also, if you could give me a like or a comment or a hype, oh my god, I would so appreciate it, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much in advance. First person that we have to talk about is Olivia Dean. I genuinely was not familiar with Miss Olivia Dean's game. Just gonna be honest about that. The only reason I know about her is because of like TikTok. And unfortunately, because I'm getting older and I'm withering away at the ripe age of 26. A lot of these people I only know about through their TikTok sounds. Since we don't know, get to know. So I sat in my car and listened to Olivia Dean's latest album, which came out in September, which is up for the next year's Grammys. But I wanted to like familiarize myself with like the work that she just most recently put out because it's only fair. What I feel as though she brings to the culture, what her lane is, Olivia is a Gen Z who is doing love ballads like nobody else is. You could say like Ray, yes, she is doing love ballads, but she's also of a different generation. Isn't she of a different generation? Okay, who else thought that Ray was in her 30s? Like Gen Z is not doing these beautiful, nostalgic, classic sounding love ballads the way that Olivia is. And I think that her classic sound is what is going to drive the vision for her. Is the vision strong enough to give her a promising future? I don't really know. Because like I said, I had to look her up. So I'm not familiar with her in terms of what she is putting out visually. And I think that that is kind of a strong part of like being an artist, is you not only have to look for them, you have to be interested in what is being pushed out about them. So I don't really know. Just simply based off the music, I think it's strong enough to get her Best New Artist. And I so enjoyed her album. There's this one song that she has that is talking about how she's easy to love. I could be easy to love like Saturday nights or the rest of your life. I'm the perfect mix of Saturday night and the rest of your life. Anyone with a heart would agree. And I feel like Gen Z is not talking about love in that way. Gen Z is talking about love in a very emotionally unavailable, spiteful, like angsty way. And so I think that she is carving out a different lane in terms of like also subject matter about love, you know? I think she has longevity, yes, but we'll get into my predictions at the very end as to if she could be a Best New Artist. Somber. I'm like nervous to talk about him because of the things that he's recently been in the news about concert etiquette, okay? and his inappropriate behavior with fans. Simply going off of the intention of this video, we're going to be talking about the music and whether or not he's best new artist material. Somber is also somebody I had to look up and like sit in my, no, I didn't sit in my car. I had to sit and listen to his latest album because I was not familiar with his game because I only know about him through TikTok. And I feel like I'm also probably not his target demo. Upon listening to his album, I feel as though he gives off a very soft angst that is rooted in the pillars of unrequited love and unexpressed desire. You can hear it in every single song of his. The How Can We Go Back to Being Friends? One of his songs is like, I look for girls with your traits, but none of them are you. Every single song is based on like a one-sided desire. And I think that really clicks most with younger people, you know, because that's like what love is when you're forming that idea in your head. I think the vision is strong because we are missing like a very angsty sound that is like this. I feel like when I was in middle school, it was like the 1975. It was like, so I feel like just based off the album that I enjoyed, like just based off of the music that he came to give us, I feel like he has longevity because of this lane that he's carving out based in like unrequited love and like suppressed feelings. Okay, next we have Cat's Eye. Brother, I don't know anything about Cat's Eye. And I will say, I feel like the lane that they're carving out for themselves is the fact that we have not had a main pop girl group in so long. It is so exciting to think about the idea of like beautiful, interesting girls getting a spot and they can all dance. And that's what we missed with Fifth Harmony. I'm sorry, but like Fifth Harmony, I was excited about looking at them kind of reuniting, but there's something about them that just feels like it's missing. And it's not just since Camilla left. It's like been forever that I feel like we've been trying to force this like pop stardom on them. You know what I mean? So I feel like Cat's Eye is gonna add this gap in the market because they're interesting and they're cool. They're just like effortlessly cool. I don't know them as people. Like I don't, in terms of personality, I feel like that's also something to keep in mind for best new artists is you kind of do have to see the personality through the music. It can't, I mean, it can be quality and you can have quality, but you also have to have like a little bit of interest. I don't know much about them as people, but I feel like the people know. So I feel like the longevity is in the fact that a lot of people are watching and a lot of people are interested and they don't even have an album out yet. They don't even have an album out. They just have like songs. I think they have an EP, which is like, should you even be allowed to do best new artist if you don't have an album out? That's kind of one of my cons about them. It's just like, I feel like they kind of popped off due to the fact that they have this Netflix focus. Are the Cat's Eye people going to come for me? Please keep it respectful. I'm deleting comments, please. Leon Thomas. Ooh. So Leon Thomas, I feel like he is very like smooth R&B sound and he has the talent from being in this industry for decades. But I feel like I'm saying this kind of as a negative and it's not, but I mean, I feel like it kind of is in terms of the fact that like I don't really see a lot of Leon Thomas fans. He to me kind of carves out the whole like you can work your whole entire life. Like he was like voicing In the Backyard again. It's like you can work your whole entire life, be in this business for decades. Like 2 decades in, you can finally get the best new artist category. What? I won't say that his most recent album, Mutt, like clicked with me. I did try to give it a chance. I couldn't sit through the whole entire album. So best new artist, I don't know, because it really didn't captivate me in that way. But he has such talent. He's worked on Ariana with songs. He's worked on other people getting their stuff popped off. So I feel like it kind of adds to the fact that he has a lot of versatility, and that versatility helps him with his own like talent. But is his individual branding, like is his individual personality enough? You know, it's like I don't really know because I don't really know Leon Thomas as himself. Like he is Andre from Victorious to me. Unfortunately, I know that he probably hates like that idea, but it's hard for me not to even just say, "Oh, that's Andre Leon Thomas," because that's the credit that I saw every time I watched Victorious, and that's how I think about him. And so like as a musical artist, I feel like he has not fully, to me, differentiated himself enough for me to think about him as best new artist. You know what I mean? But I do say I don't like the album much, but I did like the song much. Staying power, he's proved that he does have staying power, but as an individual, I don't know. Let me know if we have any Leon Thomas fans in the crowd. Next, we have the Marias. I did not know who the Marias were when they were announced. I was like, who the heck is that? And then I looked it up, and they're one of those people who I know through TikTok. They have one of those TikTok songs that people make a lot of edits to.
Don't leave me, it can't be that easy, babe. If you believe me, I guess I'll get on a plane.
And I will say the lane that they're carving out upon further look into them is the fact that they have like this psychedelic soul like alternative thing going for them. Once you sit and you like listen to their discography, I feel like I'm in a spa room for like alternative people. You know, I feel like their music is beautiful and cinematic. That's why people like to make their videos to them. But the lane that they carved out, I feel like I don't know the personality, because I don't know if it's not just because I'm not a fan, or if it's something where they're not being marketed as people to like be interesting, or if they're just wanting to lead with the music. But I think they definitely, just based off of their a listening session, definitely have longevity. I think that they're very interesting. I think they have the most, I was gonna say they have the most like interesting sound out of all of the nominees. Can I say that? Yeah, because they're very different than everybody else. So I say longevity, yes, but like still one of those things where it's like, am I interested in you as people? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, Alex Warren. Speaking of TikTok, Alex Warren is the person that we have, at least for not just in culture, but the Grammys as a whole, because he defines like having grand commercial success. Not like overnight or anything, but to go from like being like, haha, this is David Dobrik's clone, to having like music that is played on the radio, music that is going to be in like fantasy movies. I think that he is there to be like, wow, look, he just went from this like social media personality to like actually being a credible artist. In thinking about his art, I do like some of his songs. I know people are treating him like he's like the Imagine Dragons, which is like, why is Imagine Dragons getting like hate for being so commercial? But people are saying he's like too commercial. I don't want to spoil my thoughts about Addison Rae, but when I'm thinking about Alex Warren, I still kind of feel like he, unfortunately, even though he has hits, he still has to prove that he has staying power, like that he can be somebody with longevity. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know, like, what is his message, even though he has powerful, good songs? As an artist, I don't know. Well, I genuinely am curious to see how his life is going to change within the next like 5 to 10 years. Next, we have Addison Rae. Okay, speaking of TikTok, every single thing about this is about TikTok. Oh my God. In my opinion, I see Addison Rae as somebody who is incredibly experimental, not afraid to be daring creatively. And I feel like that is something that is so incredibly admirable. I feel like I see her as somebody who has inspired conversation around creativity, going from one media of the TikToker into like genuinely being taken serious as a musical artist. She to me has more of an artistic vision than Alex Warren, because she's giving just much more like visually interesting things, and the things that she is singing about in the song, saying like fame is a gun, that is such an interesting concept. And like her shows are very like weird and kind of off color in a way that you wouldn't expect from like this girl who was like a young adult when she started doing TikTok dances, kind of like bland, kind of basic looking, into this, like visually interesting person who just seems to understand the landscape. Also has a stamp of approval from Charlie XCX. Charlie XCX speaks very highly of Addison Rae. Who the heck saw that coming? I did not. I think that's so cool. I think like the stamp from Charlie XCX is really what's catapulting her, but it's not going to be her staying power because I feel like it kind of has got her in a little bit into the industry. And so I'm kind of excited to see like how does she collab with other people? What is her future going to look like? Same with Alex, like in like 5 to 10 years, how is her sound going to change? What is her sound going to be? Because right now I feel like we know kind of she's like Y2K, interesting. Can I stop saying interesting so much? But I feel like she has longevity, but it is tricky because as much as I'm saying like yes for now, she is a moment, but what is she gonna keep saying, you know? But I will say it is a pro to be curious about that. Anyway, next we have Lola Young. Lola Young to me is somebody who has the probably most personality in terms of like a contemporary typical pop star. And I say typical not meaning like she's bland, she's basic, but typical is in like we know Lola Young because she's doing music as opposed to like we know Addison and Alex because they like have large followings on TikTok. I think that she has personality along with talent. Like to me, Lola Young may be one of the most deserving people of this title because she has that big hit that we all know her for, Messy. But then we're also interested because every time I look at an interview, she is interesting enough to be curious about and to know that like I could see multiple albums from her and her changing into multiple different sounds. I think that the lane that she's carved out for herself is, the whole I don't want to say self-deprecating, like am I too messy, but like it is kind of the relatable angst of a woman, but backed up with like legitimate talent that I can see being versatile enough to last for years upon years. So who knows? Who do I want to be best new artist? I mean, I feel like it's kind of obvious by the way that I was speaking about this person, but Addison Rae. I think Addison Rae is the most interesting thing we have right now. Like, I think she's the most interesting person. And then I just feel like I've talked about her the most. And she's not just like some random person who like blew up on TikTok and like because just a following we listen to her music. Like no, she's giving actual quality work that people are curious to see more about, and that's really kind of what it comes down to. Is I'm not as curious about everyone else the way that I am about her. Even Olivia Dean, I will say Olivia Dean's music it sparks my interest and I know it's good, but like Addison as a person, I'm more curious to like ask more questions. I think they're gonna honestly, I think it's between wow, watch this be completely wrong. I think it's between Olivia Dean because she just recently opened up for Sabrina Carpenter. So she has like that commercial success idea of like you're opening up for somebody who was nominated from last year. Somber, I really could see that being like a typical Grammy pick. Unfortunately, maybe even Cat's Eye. I don't want to say Cat's Eye just because the commercial success aspect, but I kind of am. I feel like it might just be Olivia Dean. I don't know if I'm counting out Allison and Alex too soon. I don't know. But for now, I'm kind of thinking when I really have to stand on business, okay, I'm doing Olivia Dean, Somber, Cat's Eye of who I think that they're going to pick. Let me know who you think that they're going to pick. Let me know who you would like them to pick. I'm very curious as to how everybody else is feeling about this. I have another video that is talking about my general Grammy nomination predictions. So go ahead and check that one out. It's probably going to be up either after this or before that. Who knows? Go check out my channel. If you want to stick around for music talk, pop culture talk, check out my channel. I'd appreciate it. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is, I hope you have an amazing morning, afternoon, or night.